Hello, my dear students. Welcome to our English program intended for grade 12. Today, we're going to focus on Unit 12. We're going to study and explain some grammatical rules that are presented in the unit, and then we will move on to respond to different situations using different functional activities. We will be back right after the break. Welcome back, my dear students. As I told you before, we are talking about Unit 12, and we are going to explain some grammatical rules and then how to respond to different situations using different functional activities. Okay, now let's start our lesson about the grammar. Our lesson about the grammar consists of three main parts. The first part is about the use of verb plus ing, or what we call present participle, to link two sentences, and then we will move to talk about the comparison of a scale, and the third point in our grammar lesson will be about the use of prepositions. Now let's start the first grammatical point. The first grammatical rules we're going to deal with is about using verb plus ing when we connect sentences or when we reduce a relative clause. I know that some names of the grammatical rules sound strange to you, but we're going to explain it one by one. Let's start and focus on the meanings of relative clause and relative pronoun. Let's see. All right. Relative clauses and verbs ending with ing. Let me, in the beginning, introduce and make sure that you know the meaning of a relative clause and a relative pronoun. What do I mean by this? I mean that a relative clause normally adds extra information or provides information about the noun. So this is what I mean by a relative pronoun or relative clause. Then, how can I know that this is a relative pronoun or this is a relative clause or adjective clause? We say that it starts normally with one of the relative pronouns. Relative pronouns are very well known, such as we say who, which, where, when, whose. So these are examples of relative pronouns, and they come in the beginning of an adjective clause or relative clause. What are we going to do is to reduce. When I say reduce, means to delete. We're going to reduce this relative clause or relative pronoun and use the verb plus ing. Now let's see the rules and try to focus on the steps and the mechanism of answering this exercise. Let's see. Reduction of relative clauses using present participle, which is verb plus ing. So normally we're going to focus on 2 points. The first point is related to the reduction of the relative pronoun, and then we will see how to connect sentences using present participle. Let's see the rule first. If you remember, an adjective clause or a relative clause normally starts with, what do you think? It starts with, yes, a relative pronoun, like what? Like who, which, where, and when. What else? It is normally followed by, yes, it's normally followed by subject, if any. When I say if any, it means you can find a subject, or sometimes there is no subject. And then after the subject, we have the verb. Now, in this case, how can I reduce or how can I use ing or verb plus ing? Now look at the steps. The first thing I'm going to do is to delete the relative clause, like who, which, where, when. And then if there is a subject, in case there is a subject, what are we going to do? We're going to delete it. And then we move to the verb. what should we do with the verb? The verb also should be deleted, and then we get the main verb or the infinitive form plus ing. So remember, we delete the relative pronoun, we delete the subject if there is a subject, and we come to the verb, get the base or the infinitive form plus ing. Let's have an example and apply the rule step by step. We stood on the bridge which connects the two halves of the city. Okay, now look at this. In this sentence, we have an adjective clause or a relative clause. What is it? Yes, which connects the two halves of the city. How can I use verb plus ing or present participle to reduce or to delete this relative pronoun? The first thing is, yes, the relative pronoun which should be deleted. And then, do we have a subject? Is it followed by a subject? No, it does not, or does not contain a subject. It has a verb, which is connects. Now, what should we do? The verb connects should be deleted, and then we get the base moving to or adding ing. So, connects will be deleted, and then we use present participle. We took or we stood on the bridge connecting the two halves of the city. Now see what I did here? I deleted which, connects, and then we use the verb connect plus ing. All right, what I want you to do now is to move to the second one, and then we will see how to answer it. As a help, I used the rule again. Who, which, where, when should be deleted. The subject should also be deleted if there is, and the verb is deleted, and then we get the base plus the verb and ing, present participle. Let's see. The man who wears glasses is my brother. Now I want you to think about it. Where is the relative pronoun? The relative pronoun is who. What should we do when we have something like that? A relative pronoun should be deleted. And then, do we have a subject? No, it is not followed by a subject. It's followed by a verb, which is wears. Now, the verb should be deleted, and then we use the infinitive form of the verb plus ing. So, wears should be wear plus ing. We say wearing. Now, think about the answer. How can you use the present participle? The man wearing glasses is my brother. So, wearing instead of who wears. Okay, what we're going to do again is to check other examples and see how you can do it yourself. All right. She could also beat adults in memory games which involved numbers. Now, I want you first to decide where is the relative pronoun. Yes, the relative pronoun is which. What should we do? We delete which. Okay? And then, do we have a subject? No, we don't have a subject here. But we have a verb. The verb is involved. Now, the verb involved will be changing to or into involve. This is the infinitive form plus ing. Now think how the answer could be or should be. The answer is, she could also beat adults in memory games involving numbers. So we deleted the relative pronoun, and then we get the base. When I say a base, it means this is the root or the verb in its infinitive form plus ing. So involved should be involve plus ing. That means involving. Let's have another example. He becomes a PhD student in London, where he is doing high-level research. This is a little bit different from the previous examples because we have something here extra. Now let's see. First of all, where or what is the relative pronoun? The relative pronoun here is where. Now we are going to delete it. Do we have a subject? Yes, this is what I mean by something new. Because in the previous examples, we didn't mention or there were no subjects. Here, we have a subject, the word he. What should we do? We should omit it or delete it. Then we have the verb is doing. Should be also deleted. Then we get the verb do. This is the infinitive form plus ing. How do we say it? We say doing. Now think about it, what the answer is. He becomes a PhD student in London doing high-level research. Great. I think now it has become easy for you. Now let's see another example and try to depend more on yourself. She demonstrated this in 1980 when she multiplied two 13-digit numbers in her head. Okay, now automatically you should identify which one is the relative pronoun. The relative pronoun is one. And then do we have a subject? Yes, the subject is she. So we should delete it. The verb is multiplied. Multiplied is the verb, should be deleted. Then we get the infinitive form, which is multiply plus ing. How do we say it? Good. Multiply plus ing. The answer is, she demonstrated this in 1980, multiplying two 13-digit numbers in her head. Now, this is the change, multiplying. So we do not say when she multiplied, but we say multiplying. Okay, so this is what we call reduction of relative clause or relative pronoun. When we have relative pronoun, like who, which, where, when, whose, we delete them and use the verb plus ing. Another type of, or another way of linking two sentences is when we have two sentences that share or talk about the same noun. Then we can get the verb of the second sentence and we use verb plus ing. Let's have a look to understand it one by one. My brother started riding horses in big competitions. He became the youngest professional jockey in Kuwait. Now, my question is, are the two sentences talking about the same noun? Yes. How can I know? Look at the two sentences. My brother and he. So the second sentence provides additional information about the noun of the first sentence. So what can we do? In this case, we have to delete the subject, look for the verb, add ing to its infinitive form, and link or connect the two sentences. Let's see. This is the subject, he, and the verb became. Will it change to be becoming? The infinitive form is become, and then we add the ing. Now, how can I link or connect the two sentences? We say, my brother started riding horses in big competitions, comma, becoming the youngest professional jockey in Kuwait. So he became changes to be becoming. You get the verb or the infinitive form of the second sentence, and then you add the ing. The thief denied the crime. He explained that he spent his money on family and that he gave much of it to charity. Now, again, the same question. What do you think? Is the noun here the same? Are the two sentences talking about the same noun? Yes. How can I know? Look. The thief and he. So the second sentence also provides more information about the same noun. That's why we can link them using a present participle. This is the verb plus ing. Now let's see. The subject is he, will be deleted. The verb is explained. Then we get the infinitive form, which is explain, plus ing should be explaining. Now let's see what the right answer is. The thief denied the crime, comma, explaining that he spent his money on family and that he gave much of it to charity. Now see, he explained became or becomes explaining. Now, this is the first part of our grammatical rules. We talked about the use of ing to link sentences or to reduce relative clause. Let's have a look on the second rule. It's about a comparison of a scale. The scale, as you see the picture, I have a question for you to understand it carefully. Now, do you think that one side is bigger or heavier than the other side? Of course not. They are almost the same. They share the same adjective or the same quality. Now, it's one way to compare people, things, or even places or events when there is no difference. If there is no difference and they share the same adjective, then we can use the rule. And here, what is the rule? The rule is as, adjective, as. Okay, now let's see. Einstein is as famous as Newton. Now, we have two nouns here, Einstein and Newton. Both of them are famous, so they are similar here. There is no difference. They share the adjective famous. That's why we say as, famous, as. Let's have another example. Okay, this is another use. So we use it either to describe things or people who do not have or that do not have any differences. Here we have a description when we describe someone or something to another thing. Now let's see. A tiger is as dangerous as a lion. We have the tiger and the lion. They share the adjective or the feature of being dangerous, as dangerous as. Now let's see how we use as, adjective as to describe people or things. The following example is very clear. The prisoner was as angry as hell. Now the two names we have here is the prisoner and hell. As you know the meaning of hell, it refers to extreme heat and fire, extreme fire. So you cannot say a prisoner is just like fire, but we are describing him when he is angry as hell. So we say as angry as. Another example. It was too dark. I was as blind as a bat. Now, what is the similarity? How do I use as, adjective as? Why do I use it? I use it because it's too dark. If it is too dark, you cannot really see. A man or a person becomes like a bat. The bat does not really see, but depends on its sound. So it's a kind of description. That's why we say, I was as blind as a bat. All right, let's see this exercise. Read the sentences below, then write a sentence using as, adjective as. Dan's dog is cute. Jimmy's dog is cute too. Now let's see. Now, what is the similarity here? We have two nouns. What are the two nouns? Dan's dog, Jimmy's dog. Okay, what do they share? They share one adjective, which is cute. Now, we can link the two sentences, use as, adjective as. Remember that there must be an adjective. The adjective here is cute. Let's see. Dan's dog is as cute as Jimmy's. And notice, you cannot say Dan's dog and then you write just Jimmy. No, you have to say Jimmy's. It is possessive, the possessive form, apostrophe S. As cute as. Another example, I think history books are interesting. I think comic books are interesting too. Now, what are the two nouns that share one adjective here? The two nouns are history books, comic books. Now, what is the adjective here? The adjective is interesting, great. So two nouns and they share one adjective. How can I say it? Try to think of the answer. Use as, adjective as. Okay, I think history books are as interesting as comic books. Now the word as, and then we have interesting, which is the adjective. All right. Now, this is the second part, which we have just finished. It was about the comparison of a scale using as, adjective as. Now, the third part of our grammatical rules is related to preposition. It seems to be difficult to some of my students, but today we're going to make it easier for you. You just need to know the prepositions. When you can use a certain prepositions. Prepositions, I mean words like for, at, on, in. These are different prepositions. Let's see where and when we can use each one of them. Let's start one by one. The first preposition is in. Okay, let's see the first use. We say years. So if you are mentioning a year, you say in. Don't say on. You say in 2012 or in 2012. So number one is years. Number two, we use in when we talk about seasons. Now, seasons like what? Like winter, we have 4 seasons. Winter, summer, spring, or autumn. Again, what else? We use it before month. Now, when I see in January, in May, in February, so these months normally, when we talk about month, we use in. The fourth use, centuries. As you know, we have the 20th century. A century is 100 years, by the way. So this is the 21st century. We live in, don't say on, we live in the 21st century. Other uses like time of day. We say in the morning, in the evening, or in the afternoon. Now, let's see. On. Okay. Now try to focus. If you have a paper ready, try to take notes. When should I use on? Before weekdays. So when we come to days, we do not say in, we say on. On Saturday, on Monday, on Friday. Don't say in, but we say on before weekdays. The second use is dates. Okay, the word date means I'm talking about a day and a month, or a day, a month, and a year. Other expressions like what? On board of a plane. On duty, someone who is working. On business, someone who is doing business. On holidays, when we have days off. On a bus, if we are on a vehicle. On TV, and on the first floor. Okay, still we have at. We use at when we refer to time. At 6 o'clock, at 6:30. Also, we use at with other expressions. We say at noon, at night, or at the weekend. Place to do something typical. We say at the cinema, or at school, or at work. Again, we have 3 more. We have with. Now, some verbs normally accompany the preposition with. Like what? Like, yes, to be angry with someone, deal with, satisfied with. 4, we say the reason for, famous for, grateful for. It's like saying we are grateful for our teachers or our parents. Of. Yes. Fond of. Soup of the day. The cause of. Okay, now we have explained them carefully. I want you to answer these examples or these exercises very quickly and easily. Let's see. Students feel grateful their teachers. Now, when I say grateful, we say in, on, for, or by. The answer is grateful for. We don't go to school the weekends. If you remember, when I say the weekends, in, at, of, with. Normally we say at the weekends. My little brother is fond playing chess. Now the verb fond should be accompanied with of or by or with or for. It's normally fond of. My mother is usually angry me when I spend much time chatting on the WhatsApp. So angry, in, for, of, or with. We just explained it. We say it's angry with. One last example. I celebrated my birthday November 24th. Here we have what? Here we have a date. Normally we use in or at or on or by. We say on before dates. Okay, now let's have a look at the language functions. Language functions, this is the last part of our lesson for today. It's about responding to different situations using functional activities. Let's see the examples and try to understand how we can respond correctly and logically. Let's see. Write what you would say in the following situations. A friend asks you about the advantages of being a genius. Now, if someone wants to know why it is advantageous to be a genius, how can you state advantages? You can say, one advantage of is, one merit. Merit is just like advantage, is that you can understand things easily, for example. One of the pulses also means advantages is, okay, another example. Your teacher asks you about the possible outcomes of space exploration. Now, the right response here is to give a guessing or to express guessing or possibility. If you want to guess something, you say what? Perhaps it will lead to the development of technology, for example. Maybe it will cause advances or technological advances on Earth. Or I guess it will be helpful to us on Earth. The last point is, your classmate wants to know how he or she can be excellent at physics like you. Here, if you want to tell someone about how to be good or excellent at something, you give explanation. How can we say? Or we give explanation. We say, the reason is that I study very hard, or that's because I do my homework on time. Or you may say, if you think about it, you see it needs a lot of work. Now, we have come to the end of our lesson for today. We have talked about the grammatical rules that were mentioned in Unit 12. We explained how to reduce sentences and connect them using a present participle by using verb plus ing. We talked about the comparison of scales, and then we moved to give examples about the best use of prepositions. Finally, we talked about how to respond with different functional activities in situations. Till we meet again, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.